Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Rachel Williams begins now.
Some Tasmanian first home buyers will be eligible for grants of up to $20,000 for at least another 12 months. The state government says grants for those purchasing a new build or off-the-plan property will be included in the upcoming budget. But it's unclear if stamp duty concessions for first home buyers purchasing an existing property will also be budgeted for.
Well, the government has committed to $20,000 for an extra year for new home builders. Other aspects of the budget I'm not going to preempt. We'll have to wait for another week and a half.
It counts for around about a quarter of the deposit needed on the average home in Tasmania. So, it can save somebody saving for their first house up to 12 months in terms of the time it takes to save for that deposit.
Master Builders Australia says 1 in 5 new homes built in the past year was purchased by a first home buyer. Labor welcomes the measure but says more social housing is still needed. It's a disease which impacts 1 in every 8 women nationally. Breast cancer claims around 3,000 lives each year. And with that in mind, hundreds put on their best pink attire today, taking part in the annual Mother's Day Classic.
Running in memory of those they've lost.
We have a special connection. My mum and their grandmother lost her battle to breast cancer. So we come along here in a happy mode to celebrate her and her life.
A sea of pink takes over Hobart. Everyone's best tutus, feather boas and wigs all out and on display. The annual Mother's Day Classic Fun Run seeing record numbers turning out for the breast cancer fundraiser.
The Mother's Day Classic is an iconic event all around Australia. It has been going on for over 22 years now, with a goal to raise over $40 million by 2020.
Runners and walkers taking part in 4 or 8 kilometre events.
We are an active family and we thought that this would be a really nice way to spend Mother's Day, so we're just starting a new tradition for the first time.
Meanwhile, those looking for something a little more relaxing treated their mums to a day of food, wine and music. Campania's Wobbly Boot Vineyard hosting a day amongst the vines.
For those people who don't probably get to spend as much time with their mum as they would like, or do something special for mum, to actually get out and treat her and just let her know how much they appreciate her.
Kids of all ages letting mum know just how special she really is.
We gave our mum her presents and she was really happy.
What did you give your mum for Mother's Day?
I gave her a shower cap and some soap.
Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
With less than a week left until Australia heads to the polls, the battle for Bass is heating up. Health was on the agenda for Labor and Liberal today, both making appearances in Launceston. Labor promising to invest $1 million to build a new patient waiting area in the Launceston General Hospital's emergency department.
This will provide modifications to the building to ensure that people can be safely decanted in a safe place, can have access and will have dignity whilst they're waiting to be admitted into the ED.
Meanwhile, the Liberal Party continued to mock Labor's $25 million investment into a Tasmanian AFL team, saying its own focus remained on the health system.
We're investing in health, we're investing in jobs and we're investing in the Tasmanian way of life. And that's the theme that will continue right up to election day.
Senator saying he hopes to see Prime Minister Scott Morrison in Tasmania again before next Saturday's election. Tasmanians have enjoyed a Mother's Day treat at Launceston's Albert Hall. Distinguished musician Andrew Bainbridge played a 2-hour program on the hall's 160-year-old organ as part of the annual Mother's Day recital. It's the oldest of its kind in Australia and is the only organ in the country which can be driven by hydraulic power through the use of a water engine. Bainbridge has performed extensively in Tasmania and to audiences interstate and in the UK.
A kick after the siren has saved the day for the Devils in the NAB League. There were frantic scenes in the final 90 seconds of play as the Tassie boys turned a 10-point deficit into a stirring win. It was perhaps always destined to be a thriller. Tasmania and Bendigo entered the clash with 2 wins from 5 games and needed victory to muscle into the top half of the ladder. It took until late in the first term for Ryan Mansell to get 2 flags waving. Bailey Gordon followed up with a fine snap to extend the lead, and Colin Stevenson really put the foot down. But the Devils went back into cruise control, allowing Bendigo to square things up. Enter Jai Menzies. The North Hobart prodigy would give the Devils breathing space late in the third as things threatened to boil over at the final change. Harrison Island enforced that passion with a beautiful hip and shoulder, but the Devils looked set for heartbreak as Bendigo reached a 10-point lead with just minutes to play. A late major to Isaac Chugg provided a glimmer of hope, and the Devils took it, with Menzies living what most players only dream about. Needing a goal after the siren to steal victory, Bendigo lined nearly all its charges on the mark, but it was no distraction. Menzies coolly slotting the goal to secure a 2-point win to the jubilation and relief of teammates. While in last night's TSL, the Tigers finished strongly to record a 41-point win over Clarence. Luke Graham and Tyler Carter combined for 4 goals each, seeing the Tigers enter the top 5 with their second win of the season. Tasmanian race ace Alex Peroni is having a frustrating start to his Formula 3 career, failing to score any points on debut in the F1 feeder series. In a drama-filled race at Spain's Circuit de Catalunya, the 19-year-old was also penalised for ignoring instructions from race control.
Starting 9th on the grid, Peroni was caught in the midfield crush early, but he soon took control as he put a move on Pedro Piquet, son of racing royalty Nelson.
To the late lunge and a super move.
Drama soon after as the squabble continued. Contact avoided as Peroni pressed. A virtual safety car on lap 15 keeping the stewards busy. This pass under yellow earning him a 5-second time penalty.
Nothing came up on my steering wheel and I didn't see any boards, so I don't know.
The Australian P12 by the checkered flag. Race 2 of the championship is currently underway. Back home, and the Lacaselle Jack Cup quarterfinals have concluded, with Olympia easily accounting for Riverside at Warrior Park. Bay Kurtz the first to score before a pair from Jack Ryan made it 3-0 by the break. Riverside's defence improved, but a consolation goal wasn't enough in the 3-1 loss. In the weekend's other matches, University and Devonport also advanced to the Cup's Final 4. To boxing, and Jaden Plugger Joseph has retained his Tasmanian cruiserweight belt with a hard-fought win over Gary Brown. A vicious right flooring the challenger early in the contest before Brown fought back to go the distance. But by the final bell, judges had called the fight for Joseph across 8 bruising rounds. In State League netball, Devon's season is going from bad to worse after a thrashing by Cavs. Home court advantage counting for little in the lopsided affair as the visitors cruised to a 71-27 goal win. In other games, Arrows were too good for Kingston, while Corana downed Cripps by 10. And it's been a big weekend of basketball, but there's little to celebrate for most of the state's NBL1 teams. Last night, the Northwest Thunder played host to Dandenong, but it didn't end well. The Thunder storming out of the blocks with a 31-point opening term before running out of puff from the second. Dandenong draining everything from long range. Trey Armstrong the best of the locals with 23 points in the 109-76 loss. Earlier, the Launceston Tornadoes also went down to Dandenong by a whopping 39 points, while on Friday the Hobart Huskies women fell short by 5. It was better news for the Huskies men, winning by 9 to go 3-5 for the season. Andrew McCarthy, 7 Tasmania News.
And the Southern Huskies have just finished up on court in their first New Zealand NBL fixture at Launceston Silverdome. Playing the Southland Sharks in front of a strong support base, the Huskies had forged a 4-point lead at the first break before extending the buffer to 12 by the main change. But the visitors fought back in a massive final period. In the end, it was Southland triumphant 104-97.
Good evening. Temperatures 1 to 3 degrees above average today. Hobart and Launceston 18, Burnie 16 and 17 in Devonport. 19 the high today recorded in the east at St Helens and Friendly Beaches. Flinders Island 17, 16 at Low Head and King Island, Smithton Grove and Ooze 15, 14 at Strawn, Lyawini 9 degrees. Cloud is seen here today over the west, south and Bass Strait Islands, but mostly clear elsewhere this afternoon. Mid to high level cloud was over the west and south of Tasmania, also blanketing Victoria, southern New South Wales and coastal South Australia. Tomorrow, a cold front is crossing Tasmania in the evening. A high pressure system is centred in the Tasman Sea, extending a ridge over the south of the mainland. A trough sits along the west coast of Western Australia and another is seen there over northern Queensland. And tropical cyclone Anne continues over the Coral Sea. Northwesterly winds 20 to 30 knots, reaching 30 to 40 knots about the south and central west, tending westerly 20 to 30 knots about the west and south during the evening. Seas 2 to 4 metres. A gale warning for northeastern Tasmanian coastal waters from the northern tip of Flinders Island to St Helens Point. A strong wind warning for all remaining coastal waters and a small craft wind alert for the lakes. Wet weather tomorrow in the south of the state, 19 in Hobart, 17 for Dover and Ouse. Showers also in the north, Launceston 16, 17 in Devonport, Scottsdale 15 degrees. Showers in the west with 16 degrees for Burnie, Strahan and Stanley. St Helens partly cloudy 17, a possible late shower at Swansea 18 and a late shower or two for Ross 16. On Tuesday, showers contracting to the west and far south during the morning. Wednesday, showers about the west and far south, fine elsewhere. Showers about the west and far south, developing about the north later in the day on Thursday. Mostly sunny conditions around the mainland tomorrow, apart from a shower or two for Cairns. And currently, Rachel, it's legs 11 across the state.
Thank you so much for that, Carmen. Well, that's all your news today. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you tomorrow at 6. Bye for now.